welcome to Getting Your Money's Worth, the show that focuses on value. I'm Judith West, and our guest today is Henry Stern, founder of New York Civic, and I have to say, an icon in New York City government. Hi, Henry. Welcome.
Hi, Judith.
Thanks for being on the show. You have served in New York City government under three mayors, right? Koch, Giuliani, and a little bit under Bloomberg. And you just received an award.
A little bit under Jenkins.
And a little bit under Jenkins. So 4 mayors.
And Lindsay.
And okay. So when I said you were an icon, what is it? I wasn't far from the truth.
6.
Okay, 6. And yesterday you received a very nice award, or
Yes.
You were mentioned in a very nice award by a first deputy mayor in New York City for giving her first job and bringing young people into government. So I want to talk about that a little bit today, and it really is hard to do without mentioning what we are living through now. Tell me something. What happens to people when they go into politics? Do they enter with the same character flaws that come out later, or is something about the culture of the politics that creates character flaws?
That is a very interesting question. It's almost a profound one. Were they crazy before, or did they get crazy on the job?
Right.
Well, the answer is, the best of my knowledge, and I've known a great many over the years,
right,
is they were crazy before, but they get much worse on the job. And the reason they get worse is because everyone kowtows them and defers to them, and they have the impression that they have enormous power, and that whatever crazy behavior they had before was vindicated by their success.
Yeah. Well, we were away, but we were watching, and you couldn't put on the TV, we were watching TV, and in speaking about, I suppose it's fair to call him now, former Governor Spitzer's behavior or misbehavior, many of the political pundits had their own points of view, self-destructive, blah, 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 and psychologists spoke endlessly about the narcissistic personality. However, I had to smile when one of the political commentators interviewed Mayor Koch, because he said something somewhat like you. They said, "Former mayor, what do you think's wrong?" And he says, "Frankly, I think he has a few screws loose." So in his own way, he simplified what you just said.
Well, Mayor Koch is a very wise man.
Yes.
And I've had the privilege of knowing him for 45 years and seeing how he's grown in the job and how he's learned about people and how they behave. It's very difficult because essentially the life of a politician is one of calling attention to yourself. It's, hey, look me over. When you run, starting when you run for the student council in grade school,
right,
as many of them did.
As many of them did, right.
Many of them did. And it's funny when you meet the same people later in life as when you were kids,
right,
and competing in a different way. So they're like that. Someone has said, in fact, it's our Rule 32P, that politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
Hollywood, yeah.
Right.
Well, you have a kind of an interesting point of view that I read in something that you wrote. You have this, you make this hypothesis that what you've noticed about government is that the smarter the man, the more wacky he gets.
That's very interesting.
And I want you to talk about that.
It is a theory which I have of human behavior. I want to say right up front that it is not based on any scientific knowledge.
Okay.
So do not think that I claim to blah, blah, blah.
Right. All right.
But I firmly believe that the smarter you are, the more complex your brain is. That the more you are, say, like a Mercedes-Benz instead of a Chevrolet, say. And with the Mercedes-Benz, there are a lot more things that can go wrong.
That's interesting.
Especially if it's not engineered quite right. I mean, if there's one little flaw, it may cause a lot of consequences. And they're reflected in various ways, I believe. One is in depression. Well, we're all depressed to some extent.
At some point, right, exactly.
Particularly Jews.
Right.
Well, that's because they have an ancient problem of guilt and...
which they can't seem to get over, but...
Can't seem to get over it, and that's the way they are, and it's better than a group with the ancient problem of alcoholism.
That's true.
And the rest. So anyway, they have that. I have another rule too. Stereotypes are often correct. That's why they became stereotypes.
I know. I say the same thing about it didn't become a cliche for nothing. It became a cliche because it's usually true.
But not always.
But not always.
And you can't take action based on it. You can never punish anyone or do anything bad based on a stereotype. But, it's like detectives. What makes a good detective? A good detective is someone who can put it together, looking at people, looking at things and talking, and figure out what's happened. Now, you're not supposed to do that under the law.
Under the law, right.
That's considered profiling, and it's considered the conclusions, and yada, yada, yada. Yet when you want a detective, it's like having a bloodhound.
You look for someone with a good nose.
Good nose, yeah, good nose. Someone who can sniff out.
By the way, that's,
a
good nose is very valuable altogether in life, and certainly in business.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. That's why we have the phrase about a deal. It doesn't pass the nose test.
It doesn't pass the nose test.
You don't know what's wrong with it.
But it doesn't pass the smell test.
Right. That's the phrase, the smell test.
But, Henry, you want to bring young people into government.
Mm-hmm.
And, young people today, many of them grew up under the attitude of kind of getting their own way and feeling that they're sort of entitled to things.
They're spoiled. It's a spoiled culture.
All right. So how are we going to get beyond this? Because it's not just the fact that one smart guy did something wacky. It's the fact that voters think they're getting something. They think they're getting a reformer. They want an honest politician, and they're having a hard time finding them. How do we get out of that bind?
Well, it's very hard because when you're in politics, you have to spend millions of dollars to be elected.
Right.
Because your opponent is spending millions of dollars. And if you can't match it, you can't
That's
compete.
an altogether different topic.
Okay.
Right.
Well, no, but it's true. So where is an honest man going to get millions of dollars? There are 4 ways to get large sums of money. You can inherit it, as the Rockefellers did, and as Spitzer did, in a sense, from his father.
Right.
You can steal it, but then you get in trouble. You can marry it, as Senator Kerry did. He married 2 enormously rich women, and he used their fortunes to conduct his campaign. Or you can earn it, as Mayor Bloomberg did.
As Mayor Bloomberg did.
And that's the irony of it, is that he's denounced for spending all this money, which he did. He spent a fortune.
But he made it.
He made it. He's the only one who,
So he made
acquired the fortune through his own efforts.
So if he made it, he's entitled to spend it.
That's the way we feel.
Right.
That's the way we feel. Yeah. But most politicians
in general,
don't have that.
So in general, this need to have a lot of money does what? Creates this kind of...
Well, it creates your being obligated to people who'll give you money.
Right.
Because there are always people who'll give you money if you think you're on the way up, like Resco, in doing things for Barack Obama.
Right.
Now, Obama didn't do anything terrible
but he had,
for Resco. There's no evidence he ever...
But many of them, they have their friends.
Right,
or their
you
money
hang with a guy.
I want to shift gears a little bit now. The then President Governor is now the subject of investigation by the FBI, the Southern District, the Attorney General of the United States knows about it. Tell me something. You've been around a long time. Is that all that our top Justice Department has to do to investigate
they can
adultery?
They can also go after Roger Clemens.
Right.
And
or exactly, baseball.
Investigate people who took steroids.
Are we, this show that you're on is called Getting Your Money's Worth. Are we getting our money's worth when people are investigating baseball and adultery?
No, we're not.
It's
really quite
at this
shameful.
moment in our country?
Yeah, or at any moment.
Right.
Because adultery or sex between private, consenting adults who are full age.
And after all, she was a willing volunteer who took a train ride to Washington to make a couple of $1,000s. It sounds pretty good to me.
It is pretty good if you can qualify.
Right.
The towns. But it is an outrage for the Justice Department to take a law which was meant about, say, transfer of sums of money.
The Mann Act, right?
The Mann Act is a different thing.
Right.
The Mann Act, which was passed in 1910, written by Congressman James Mann of Illinois. It's almost 100 years old, and it was meant to ban human trafficking, the taking of women across state lines for immoral purposes.
Okay, which is hardly what's happened here.
Right. That is absolutely right.
Right.
She came on her own, by train, no desire. There was no
So again, I'm going to
force or
go back because we don't
intimidation.
have that much time left.
And
Is that a worthwhile
No, it's ridiculous.
for our
It's
taxpayer
ridiculous.
money?
The thing they got him on is he had a sum of $10,000, which he broke up into smaller sums.
to look like it's not 10,000.
And you're supposed to report that to
Right.
the SAR, Suspicious Activity Report.
Right.
I don't know if they knew it was him. They probably knew it was him. There are a lot of people in the business world who hate him, and this was a really clever way to get back at him, ostensibly by following the law. Now, that law about money was supposed to prevent money laundering or money going to terrorists or gangsters
So it's a misuse.
or dope dealers or people who are using money.
It's a misuse of a good law.
Not to get people who are using their money to pay off the prostitutes.
I know, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's terribly unfair, and it was, on the other hand, he's really very foolish to engage in that conduct, because even if the FBI hadn't found him investigating, she could be blackmailed.
Well, this is something else we can add to our stereotypes or our cliches. It's not even a cliche. It's that money always leaves a footprint.
Right.
Money doesn't lie. Money leaves a footprint. But
it has no odor, they say, but it leaves a footprint.
Right. But to getting back to where we were before, because you've been around a long time.
Fingerprint.
A fingerprint. Many voters, in fact, we're looking to have our president say, we're looking for something else in a leader, in our leaders. We're looking for someone who is really a true leader. And we don't have much time left, less than a minute. What is it that voters can do?
Well, voters have to make choices between the candidates that offer themselves.
Right.
And in order to get out of the starting gates, the candidates have to be well-known and well-funded. There were other people. There were good United States senators who competed. Senator Biden, Senator Dodd of Connecticut, Governor Richardson of New Mexico.
They weren't funded.
Well, they were eliminated early.
Right.
They weren't famous enough, because we live in a celebrity culture. And the big name, of course, was Hillary Clinton. And the challenger was Barack Obama, because he is a spellbinding speaker.
So I guess the problem that we're having here with voters, this kind of to wrap up sometimes, is that the celebrity personality, the celebrity becomes almost more important than the talent of the person.
Not almost more.
It is more important.
It is more important.
It is more important. You know, we're out of time. I just want to say, I want to tell our viewers, I consider it, this program considers it a privilege to have you on as a guest,
it's
Mr.
my
Stern,
pleasure.
because you write these wonderful emails, and I just have to end by saying, not only are his emails so wonderful now from the New York Civic, but they always start out with, "This may be long, so please take it home and read it. Don't read it while you're at work." So you're a real blessing to employers.
I don't want
also.
people to get caught reading my emails.
And he wasn't going and use up their time anyway.
Let's tell our viewers, if he's just saying, how they can get the emails free, and without obligation.
And that's
www.nycivic
New York Civic
.org, not .com, .org.
We'll put it up on the screen for everyone. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your being on the show.
It's my pleasure.
It's a privilege. Thanks for watching.